The best developers do not invent the wheel. They are using other developer work to fulfill the project needs, right? It's been a solid rule, I would say, in programming in general, but with recent development, with rising of AI, we have better opportunity to develop exactly what we want compared to libraries and modules which are currently established. And moreover, when it goes about modules, they are written in the way to fulfill most projects' need, not exact needs of your project. This is why you probably need 20% of capabilities of the module, but you have to install the whole module. And maybe the architecture approaches and code quality is not as good for you and for your project as you wish it to be. So let's review one example. I personally actually like this extension. It's Magefan Blog. It's one of the first Magento 2 extension that was not ported to Magento 2, keeping Magento 1 way of coding, but actually it was like written from scratch accordingly to Magento 2 best practices at that time. So it has pretty wide functionality. As you can see, it has admin user guide, blogs, multiple entities, user guides, again, advanced VC week, marketplace, and so on. But what if you don't need all of this? What if you just need to have like post, categories, and tags, and that's it? More code you have, more risk during updates, of course, and also it's not great from the performance standpoint, project complicity, and so on. So yeah, maybe it makes sense to move away from this open source GitHub module to something custom and implement exactly what you want. But previously it would be a questionable decision because it would require some developer time. And so in the end of the day, you're gonna get the same block, only slightly better in terms of architecture and your needs. But nowadays, if you use agentic AI, you can do this transition really quickly. The most important part to do this migration from some open source or marketplace module to your custom one is having full test coverage. In order to demonstrate this, I just created the test coverage for this module. For those entities I actually wanna keep, it's just tag, category, and blog post. So yeah, so now we are looking good from the testing point. I also prepared a prompt, like using ChatGPT. I created this prompt to make a plan. So I listed what I want to keep and what I want to remove and which approaches is better to use. So we're gonna use Magento scaffolding MCP tool in Magento Storm plugin because it already has, for example, CRUD generators and other pretty useful code from template generators. And also I prefer having everything written in CQRS-style, not using repositories. Let me explain why. When it goes about blog, the application is mostly reading data, and really rarely you write something. So you making a blog post once, and then user read it thousands of times, hopefully, if your blog is really interesting. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So let's go to API and, for example, post repository interface. So here we have get by ID, get list, and these ones are needed for reading and save for writing. Why I would like to separate this and why is Storm plugin is opted to generate code differently? It's because usually we have a lot of dependencies on save operation, especially when it goes about blog. You need to validate it, so maybe you have some plugin that validates input params. And maybe you need to decorate something. For example, filter out some malicious code, or there are a ton of different stuff can be handed on save. And then you are reading this post on the front end 1,000 times. And all of these dependencies that hanging on save gonna be loaded. So it's better to separate it right away. Maybe it's not always makes sense, but for the block, I think it's necessary for separate saving and reading. The agent gonna audit the Magefan module, move everything we value like block tag, blah, blah, blah. I opted just to keep all the business logic in Cypress. The only thing allowed to be changed is selectors. Everything else should stay in the same way. So we're gonna output the plan into block migration MD so I can revise it if needed, and we are good to go. So let's copy and paste it. Before we do that, I also want to introduce to you one library I'm using for Cypress to save failed page snapshot, because for us humans, it's pretty useful to see screenshots and videos, but for autonomous migration, I want to perform now. It's not useful. It's better to use something that agent can read, which is gonna be markup. The Cyclope library actually saves everything with also assets, but it takes some time, so I've removed saving assets. We're gonna save only HTML if test fails. And with that, we also are using MCP if needed. Maybe it's overkill for this particular task because we don't have a lot of JavaScript. But if you are migrating something heavy, like something big, maybe some shipping method, payment method, I don't know, something that has a lot of JavaScript, it would be great to use SEQ so agents can do instrumentation and send messages to special database. I've talked about it in previous videos. So yeah, so I'm providing these tools to agent for more autonomous work, so I don't gonna get my hands dirty at all today. And yeah, I've created a skill for this workflow, like for Cyclope, how to read index HTML when test fails, and if needed, how to place SEQ props. So they need to be in separate modules, so when task is done, we can easily delete it. So yeah, I believe we have a great mission now. So let me go ahead and finally pass that prompt into prompt text area. Okay, let's launch it. Okay, now we need to wait for a plan. So let's wait for it. And also there is one bug in AI assistant. We need always check if this one is not red, because if it's red, it's not gonna work and system not gonna see our MCPs, but as you can see, it sees them, so it's okay. It's okay. So now we have our plan in place. I just gonna briefly take a look if everything is fine. It seems to be okay, nothing crazy here. Let's go ahead and execute this plan. Okay, here we go. So now I would bet it's gonna take from 10 to 15, maybe 20 minutes to get the job done. Let's wait. Okay, as we can see, agent has started to generate code using Magento PHP Storm plugin. Yeah, let's take a look at it. Okay, so we have controllers, we have everything in place. It would be interesting to compare how much time it would take if we do everything from scratch without using MCP. I bet it would take much more time. And as far as I'm concerned, agents works much worse with admin side of things in Magento, especially with admin UI components and so on. So it's better to use MCPs because we have everything there polished and in place for work right away. Okay, while generating is in progress, I'm gonna show you changes in PHP Storm plugin I'm planning to release soon. Maybe it's already released, depending when you are watching this video. So if we go to MCP server and expose tools, you can see that a Magento MCP toolset has way less tools than before because I'm compacted them into more specific entry points. So we are not overwhelming the agents with gaps of tools because it's all context. And the more tools you add, the more skills you add, it's not always better because it can water down the context and the model can become less precise. If you don't use something, it's better to disable it, not to include. So yeah. And also keep in mind that new codecs, and I believe Claude and Copilot for sure, they have built-in MCPs on server side. So make sure you're not adding the same thing. If it has internet search on server side, no need to add it in the client side. It doesn't make any sense. One more thing about new features. It also will have skill installation. So you can add scaffold or inspect skill into your project and fine-tune that skill accordingly to your needs. It's gonna add it in exact folder where it's needed. It's currently available for Cortex and Claude because skills are written in the format that is working with them. And other agents can possibly have different format. If you are using something different, you need to convert these skills into the format that is supported by your agent. All CRUDs were generated, but now the agent adding what's missing. What missing is relation between those entities. So as you can see, tags and category will be available on post lists. So yeah, it adds all the needed foreign keys and so on. So yeah, works like a charm, I would say. And guys, question to you. How would we call this approach? Something like hybrid approach of code generation. So we have templates and we have agent. Using templates for boilerplate code and then adjusting only some parts as if it is needed. And I wish we had a more extended library, maybe some database with most common customizations and allow agents to do requests to this database and find if the solution was already implemented. Something like some payment method, maybe shipping method. Yeah, the most common stuff. And it would boost the task execution a lot and also save some tokens. So it's pretty, I believe, useful idea. Maybe I'll implement something like this and extend the scaffold command to something bigger. Let's see. But how would we call it? Like hybrid vibe coding? I don't know. Maybe I need to ask AI how to call it, but in general, I think it works. Maybe I need to test this prompt without PHP Storm plugin and see how much longer agent gonna work with some configuration. But I would say maybe it would take 2 or 3 times more because again, admin side layouts are pretty complicated for agents so far. Write in the comment if you want me to do this comparison. I'll record the video and we will compare. But prior to this, I tested just generating new module, with, like new empty module. So of course with scaffold it take, I don't know, seconds. So yeah, this approach is definitely useful, but it would be great to have bigger library in future. Maybe replace marketplace with something like I don't know, some database with boilerplate code with scaffolds and so on. Let's see. Okay, it's been generating code for 17 minutes and it's already have some 200 responses, which is like amazing. So yeah, let's see how much it's gonna take to make Cypress pass and do the cleanup. But the most important part is that I'm not touching the code at all. I just observing, which is amazing. I like it. Okay, 19 minutes and we have first failed tests. By the way, only one of them, which is pretty surprisingly, I would say. So the precision of the model is impressive. Not all of them failed, just only one. It's crazy. Yeah, of course, you would say that the task is pretty simple, it's just a block. But anyway, it's amazing, only one test failing. And I believe it's gonna take 2-3 minutes for model to figure out what's wrong and fix it. As you can see, something was wrong with DI configuration. So yeah, the model is figuring out what exactly was wrong. Hey, all tests are passing. So it took 22 minutes to get to this point. Now it needs to do some cleanup and verify the result. Okay, so Magefan modules aren't existing, tests are passing, and our new module is in the code base. 25 minutes in total. Oh, already 26, but yeah. Okay, let's wait to the end. Here we got summary, so let's go to the admin panel. Oh no. John Smith. Here we go. So, content. Here our blog. Magefan not exist. And yeah, we have list. Whoops! Oh no. Oh no. We need to tell about it. So yeah, please fix. As I told you, it's very bad with admin stuff. Happens. To be honest, I'm not doing it for the first time. I've done it before. I've done similar tasks and like I see the issue for the first time. Usually it works right away. Okay, it say it fixed. Let's check. Google Chrome. Yeah, it works. It works. So great. It even has page builder in it. Come on, how cool is this? So now we have our cool block, very efficient, only features that we need, nothing else, which is great. So yeah, you guys, invent the wheel. The better wheel you're gonna invent, the faster ride gonna be. So why not to invent the wheel, especially having these AI capabilities. See you in next videos. Cheers.